Hi guys, I'm meteorologist Tracy Smith here in Red Lodge next to Rock Creek. Now I want to break down, what flooding can do. And some of the destruction that you're going to see today is very similar to what the Southeast sees when they're talking about hurricane damage and the flash flooding concern. Now behind me you do have a bridge that has been destroyed. And now this bridge is acting more like a dam, redirecting this creek around it. And it's redefining the actual landscape of this earth. So while this house is off next to us, this house is actually sitting on land and is now tilted more into the river. This river was not there. This creek was not there just 24 hours ago. This has all been newly redefined just based on the strength and the pressure of the water. It can just show you how much it changes. Thank you so much, Mark. Well, here in the Billings area alone, we were seeing anywhere between 6 to 15 inches of snow. And that mostly came down earlier this morning, even as we're still looking at some light snow here in the Magic City. Now, along with that, we were looking at wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. So that was creating the blowing and drifting snow. Some of the snow drifts up to 2 to 3 feet. And if you were near the rims, you were probably seeing those snow drifts a little bit on the high. We're not quite done with the system yet. In fact, as we go through the evening, we're expected to see those temperatures get downright cold back into the single digits and teens, which is unprecedented for this time of year. You don't see that in April, even with a spring snow system. So even all the wet, slushy roads that we have going on in the area, that is going to refreeze tonight, especially in the next hour or so. So make sure you're giving yourself plenty of time to get home to your destination. Even if you have to travel early tomorrow morning, roads are going to be a little on the difficult side. The winds have been a little bit on the breezy end, but it's been enough to just give us a little relief from some of that daytime heat. And I've got to tell you, it has been really hot out here. Now let's take a closer look at the satellite and radar. That shower and thunderstorm cell that was more to the north of us is now moving through Shepherd and Huntley. And that is an area that is looking at some heavy rainfall, the potential of 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and also some pea-sized hail. Throughout much of the day, we've been watching a low-pressure system pulling in more moisture from the southwest. Now, overall, we have been watching out for gusty winds around 30 to even 50 miles per hour out of north central Montana, now tracking a severe thunderstorm warning out of Miles City. Right now, we are looking at some rainbows off into the distance, but we are also seeing some heavy rain. Notice the strong gusty winds moving over. This storm does have the potential to bring in 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts as well as quarter-size hail. It is currently moving right along I-94. Make sure that you're moving indoors. Lots of lightning, whereas once again, quarter-size hail. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts will be the main threat. This storm will be in place until 6:30 tonight as it continues to track more to the southeast. It's really southeastern Montana that has the best chance to see some isolated strong to even severe weather, but you'll notice areas in the light green all the way from southwestern Montana into the northeast do have the chance to also see some active weather. And of course, we're going to be taking a closer look at what you can expect over the 4th of July weekend coming up here in just a bit. All right, so it's just after 11 p.m. here at the studio and we're out doing science projects. It's 20 below for your temperature and 41 below for the wind chill, and we're going to see if we can evaporate some water here real quick. And bless me, I hope this doesn't land on me. Not bad.
There's really no downside to that. I mean, they're going to have some gun shows over there and some gun shows over there. Did you see?
I did. I didn't even buy tickets.
Whoa, my ticket's a little tight there for that.
Oh, man. Favorite Christmas song and extra points if you sing it.
Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
Wham.
We are now in the second half of July, and while western, eastern, and southern Montana are at or slightly above moisture levels, it's important to remember that there are pros and cons to the luscious green grass, especially during wildfire season. I spoke with Chief John Staley of the Lockwood Fire Department, and he says the greener the grass, bushes, and trees means it's more difficult to catch fire, to burn, or to sustain a burn. With more wildfires developing across the state of Montana, it's important to have an emergency kit ready to grab and go. Some important things people often forget are going to be food for their pets, as well as medication. Having a list of phone numbers and a place to meet up in case of evacuations are also things that Chief Staley recommends.
In Billings, I'm meteorologist Tracy Smith. Back to you. Hello there, I'm meteorologist Tracy Smith here with you, and we are at Mecoshika State Park, and I'm joined by Riley Bell. And this is, one of my first times, my first time here, and you have so much to offer. I've noticed hiking, biking, we're here at an archery facility, and there's also disc golf. So tell me about all these different things that you can do here, because it's phenomenal. Now tell me, we're here on an archery course. What's going on here?
Yeah, so this course has been around since the 60s, 70s, so it's been here quite a while. So it's 28 different stations.
Well, I think it's safe to say after the 4th of July fireworks in many areas, Mother Nature had her own fireworks show going on as storms started tracking in across much of south central Montana, bringing in her own lightning show and even some large hail. Today, we are in the Huntley area at the Pryor Creek Golf Club, where this area specifically saw large size hail up to 2 inches in diameter. And of course, here at the putting green, we've been looking at huge dents into the grass that are going to make things a little bit problematic, especially if you're looking to get on the golf course.
I think one of the biggest things was did we know this was coming? Well, I think throughout the entire month of July, we've had that isolated risk almost daily of a strong to severe storm to hit the Billings area. And this one actually, we were that isolated risk. We were that isolated town. I want to give you an idea of what we were seeing. This is Sunday at 6:41. As we move a little bit closer, I'm going to take you back a little bit more. This is 6:56, so it's just going over the radar. That's that little hole that you see just to the northwest of the Billings Heights. It starts moving in and across the Billings area. About 7:08, its entirety is over Billings and the Billings Heights, still moving and impacting areas like Acton. Not really hitting the Billings south side very much, but it is going over Lockwood, and you can see all the lightning, the areas of yellow and red indicating areas of heavy rain. And then, of course, we were also seeing that blanket of hail. Now, speaking of that, I do want to kind of show you a couple of storm reports that we were seeing. We were looking at wind gusts up to 68 miles per hour. That was ahead of the storm at 6:50. Moving into about that 7 p.m. hour, that's where the hail really started to increase, about 1 inch in diameter, 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches as we were moving through 7:05, 7:10. And then after everything was said and done for the day, we were looking at a Billings record of precipitation hitting 1.5 inches, leading to the massive flash flooding concern that we had across much of the city.
It's meteorologist Tracy Smith. Once again, we are out here doing science projects in Billings, Montana. The temperature is 15 below zero and the wind chill is 41 below zero. And we're going to see if we can try and freeze some bubbles, and you can see how quickly they freeze over. Usually need a couple tries to get a nice bubble. Let's see. There we go. Small little bubble, but with the cold air that we have out here, it should start to crystallize here. We'll start to see it with fog over. There it goes. And just like that, kind of looks like a little broken egg.
It is Friday, so we are looking at what's on the radar out of Livingston. I love this pair. This is Benny and Ruby in the Livingston area, and of course we're taking a closer look at their forecast. In Livingston on Saturday and Sunday, it'll be mostly cloudy, slight chance of snow on Sunday, with temperatures mostly in the low 40s to upper 40s. Saturday looking pretty ideal to kind of get in that little walking buggy and enjoy the outdoors.
Yeah, did you need a walking buggy? Yeah, you need a walking buggy.
Cody going into Sheridan, expected to see a little over 2 inches of rainfall, and still about close to 1/2 inch out of Grable. Notice we're still expected to see another 1/2 inch out of areas like Bozeman, but if you're a little bit more to the north, you're starting to come to a close on some of those rain showers. It is going to be a little bit drier with some scattered rain expected throughout Memorial Day, so not nearly a washout like southern Montana is experiencing. So something to keep in mind, we are still looking at least 1 to 3 inches of rain right along the Montana-Wyoming border, really impacting our foothills and more mountainous areas. If you're north of Billings, we're looking at less than 1 inch of rainfall. Ponding water on the roadways is going to be very possible. And of course, we're expected to see a rise on small rivers and streams. So you want to watch out for those areas. Make sure that you're not seeing any flooding concerns in your location. And check out the mountains at 8,000 feet and higher. We could see some heavy, wet snow around 1 to 3 feet in accumulation. That's really going to be impacting the Beartooth and Absarokas, and you can see that we're expected to see 8 to 12 inches out of Yellowstone National Park. Still expected to see a lot of snow out of the Bighorn Mountains, and some of our more mountainous areas out of southwestern Montana are still expected to see 4 to 8 inches of snow. This is taking us all the way into Tuesday, right around noon. It's another day of active storms across much of the state. We were seeing those storms building in right along the Rocky Mountains, going through Great Falls, north central Montana, impacting south central Montana through the Billings area, and now working its way through Colstrip down to Sheridan, Ashland. And of course, this one will be in place until 5:45. It's our newest severe thunderstorm warning. So with that, we are expected to see some 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts as well as the threat of small size hail. It's mostly central and eastern Montana that has the chance to see more of those isolated to scattered severe storms. But of course, if you were in the Butte area, you might have seen a severe thunderstorm warning in your area. It was just there for a second, but you had that risk for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts in your area as well. So it just shows you that those storms have been a little bit more widespread across much of the state. We are looking at a severe thunderstorm watch across central Montana until 7 p.m. tonight, and out of the eastern plains, this will be lasting until 9 p.m. So some of the biggest threats that we're going to be watching out for through the rest of your evening will be 60 to 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts, hail up to the size of a quarter, and some areas have also seen some larger size hail. So be extra cautious out there. Brief heavy rain and lightning are of course associated with those storm systems moving through. Here's a closer look at what we were seeing just here in the Billings area. This is right outside the station. You can see the trees just howling there in the wind. Also a little bit right outside the Hardin area. This is I-90. Look at the low visibility out there. You can see the grass swaying off into the distance. And we were also looking at a lot of cars pulled off due to the low visibility. And also here in the Billings area, we were tracking at least 56 to 61-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and that was enough to take down this 25-foot tree here in the area. So definitely use some caution as we continue through the rest of the evening. Those winds continue to impact south central Montana. Once again, that severe thunderstorm warning that we have going through Rosebud, Treasure, Bighorn, and into Sheridan have the possibility to get as high as 70 miles per hour. Now, of course, these are some of our max wind speeds across much of the state. We were up to 56 and 61-mile-per-hour winds in the Billings area and up to upper 40s between Great Falls and Havre. Temperatures have been cooling behind this system, dropping at least by 16 degrees compared to where we were yesterday in the Billings area, down by 13 out of Livingston, and at least down by 13 out of Yellowstone National Park. So that's putting those temperatures down into the mid to lower 60s compared to those 90s where we were earlier today. Still looking at 90s off into the eastern plains, and those 90s are going to start to cool off as those storms make their way into the east. Now, tonight we're still tracking those storms moving off into the eastern plains. You might see a second dose of showers and thunderstorms in the Billings area by 10 p.m., clearing from west to east as we go throughout the day Saturday morning. Saturday overall, not looking too bad. You might see a couple of spotty showers developing off into the southwest, but we're mostly going to be staying sunny, dry, and hot. 80s and 90s slated for Saturday afternoon. Sunday, we start to see another round of showers and thunderstorms approaching in from the southwest from Dillon going into Lewistown, and then that will stretch from the southwest into the northeast by Sunday at 10. And ahead of those storms, south central and eastern Montana have another round of triple-digit heat headed their way. So here's a closer look at your 7-day forecast across the state.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Tracy Smith here with you, and today is Wednesday, so we have Color the Weather all ready to go for you. This week's winner is Sierra, and Sierra, you're going to get a $25 gift card to Wendy's courtesy of White Heating and Air Conditioning. We love your pictures so much, and we're so looking forward to spring and summer where maybe we can get out and do a little bit of camping, enjoy some sunshine, the snow-capped mountains, and the nice green grass. Thank you so much for applying, and of course, once again, I'm meteorologist Tracy Smith, and we hope that you stay here for more nonstop news.
Today, students from Cowley, Wyoming got a unique opportunity to check out what it takes to forecast our region's changing weather conditions. And they paid a little visit to our meteorologist Tracy Smith for a behind-the-scenes look inside the Montana Right Now Weather Lab. The Rocky Mountain Elementary School students had the opportunity to ask questions and learn about some of the more extreme weather we see, like wind, hail, and lightning. And of course, they also spent some time on the green screen practicing their forecaster moves. And it wouldn't be a learning experience without delivering a forecast of their own alongside Tracy. Forecast certainly looks bright coming from our future weather scientists. Weather scientists, I like the ring of that. So Tracy, do we have any future forecasters in the bunch there? And what kind of weather can we expect for the rest of the night tonight?
Well, I asked the group of kids if any of them wanted to be, if I could convince any of them to be a future meteorologist, and they were all like, hands up in the air, yes, yes, yes. And then this one little boy said, I'm going to be a meteorologist and I'm going to come right for your job. And I said, okay. So by the time I'm ready to retire, he's going to be moving in.